Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu alaikum viewers. I'm your host Faiza Naqvi with a prayer. May Allah keep you all safe, healthy, blessed, and protected from all worldly evils. And may Allah hasten the appearance of Imam of our time, inshallah, as soon as possible. And today I am here with you with a new topic in Meri Pehchan, which is related to G20 summit, which has happened from 22nd of May until 24th May, and how India wanted to show the normalcy of the circumstances over there. Like everything is normal, everything is fine, and they are heading towards kind of economic success or something like that. So we will talk about this summit, what happened there, and what are the feelings of the people who are in an open jail in occupied Kashmir, and how about their freedom fight, which they have been fighting for from past 75 years, and they have lost their loved ones. The women have been raped, and the young children were kidnapped and killed and slaughtered in different ways. So how they feel about it, and is there any freedom of expression over there, any freedom of speech over there, and how this summit has happened, and the 1918 countries have been there, and are they not aware of this fact that this is a disputed place, and they don't have any care about human rights over there, and there is no freedom of expression and freedom of you can say journalism. So many journalists have been arrested, and no one knows where they are at the moment, and there are so many atrocities had been going on since this summit had happened, and now what is the situation over there? We will talk about it later with our very special guest, Dr. Sayyid Inayatullah Indarabi. We will move on to our guest. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saab. I'm really thankful for your time, and really honored to have you on the show.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, my privilege to be on your show. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Dr. Saab, I just want to know, what are your feelings? Obviously, you are from Srinagar as well, and you have very closer eye on the circumstances of the people over there who live there on their own, and you are yourself from there as well. So, what are your thoughts and feelings about the summit that has been going on from 22nd May until 24th, which is known as G20 summit, and India wanted to show that all is well, everything is fine over there, and it is normal. Everything is normal over there. They were trying to portray normalcy. So, how you feel about it, and what are your thoughts on that?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is what India wanted to achieve in hosting this G20 summit there. I will come to it in a moment. I mean, what did they want to achieve, and did they achieve? Because the summit it's over. It was 22nd to 24th. We'll come to it in a moment. But first, let's understand what goes on in Indian mind. What goes on in the mind of the Indian government? Why did they? What made them to host a summit there in a place, in a situation that if a simple member parliament from India uh, just leave, even if he is not a minister, even if he is not in cabinet, a simple government official, a political official from India, if he has to visit Kashmir, there are huge security arrangements because Kashmir is not welcome for them, and they know it, and there's a huge welcome for a small person. Sorry, welcome. There's a huge security uh, arrangements for even an MP. Now, that is I'm talking of Indian MP of India. Now, not to just imagine, G20 is a group of 20 countries which are not very advanced economies, but are more than sort of emerging, let us say, in which India is there, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Indonesia, a sort of middle level. Now, these G20 countries plus invitees, for example, Egypt was a special invitee, Oman was a special invitee, and some others. And then trade delegations from different countries. So it was a big event, and so many countries, so many delegations, and the venue was a place where, for a small thing like Indian MPs visit to that, you have to make huge security arrangements. So what is this? Apparently, it is madness. What? Why should you host an event at such a place which is so insecure for you? What? Why should you do it? You are bringing foreign dignitaries. You have responsibility for their safety, and you are putting them in a place which is the most insecure for India and Indian events. So what happened? Why are you doing so? I mean, this is, and this makes sense. This is a perfect, sensible question. Now, the answer to that is that India is, for the past some years, I should say, in late 90s, when the ex-prime minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, when he was the finance minister, and the prime minister was one guy called P.V. Narasimha Rao. He has passed away since. It was during the Manmohan Singh's tenure as finance minister. Manmohan Singh is one of the world-renowned economists, and he had been here in the London School of Economics also. I think he taught there. Uh, in Manmohan Singh's time, India liberalized its economy. It gave entry to multinationals. Now, a land of almost 1 billion people, recently they have crossed 1 billion, but such a huge area, opening up its economy was a huge thing, was a big thing. And you can see all these big corporations, they rushed to India and they set up their shops in India. So Indian economy grew, and it is still growing, and it is growing at a good pace, not as fast as China, but it is growing. But the very important thing to note about it is, whereas China, when they liberalized and not liberalized, when they went on the track which they chose for the economic development, when they did that, they could pull up millions of their citizens from poverty line. They could bring them up. But in India, what has been now noted, and there are books regarding this. There's a book called Billionaire Raj. Like this, there are so many books you can see on Amazon. This is a noted fact, and it has been studied that in India, because of the economic growth, which I was telling you started somewhere in late 90s, the liberalization and all this. Because of this, Indian millionaires, they changed into billionaires, but Indian poor people, they remained where they were. As of now, the maximum number of poor people, the maximum population of poor people lives in India. But this is what India did, and I was giving you the background that what happened, that India hosted the conference there. This is because now India is growing, and it is an emerging economy. Now it is, the next thing to go in India's mind is that I am an emerging power. And what do big powers do? Now, India is in the ruling elites, they are going into the library and taking the playbook. They are looking at what do big powers do. Okay, let's see what the United States do. United States bombed Hiroshima. United States killed hundreds of thousands in a minute. They killed Hiroshima. They bombed Hiroshima. They went here. They went there. They don't care for anything. Okay. So now we should be doing things like that. Otherwise, we won't be a big power. Because the problem with the world, uh, I can't explain it in some detail, but this is very important to note. The problem with the world is that they don't have a template, a framework of what politics is, what a moral politics is, how it is possible that you are a big power, you are a very big economy, but then you have some limits. You govern your politics on some moral considerations. There is no framework of this. Anyone who grows, for example, Turkey, anyone who who think that we are growing in size, they think of themselves as a huge power expanding in geopolitical terms. They think of influence, and like Putin thought, he thought Ukraine is nothing, it is also Slavic, it is also Russia, and they went invading Ukraine. They follow the playbook, and this book has been, it is scripted by the Western colonial powers of expansion and all this, with the exception of Iran, who have some original idea, not a full clear framework, but some original idea, because the political thought in Iran does not does not get inspiration from the imperial Islamic Muslim past, kingdoms and all this. It does not get inspiration from that. It gets inspiration from the Nabi Muhammadi, as Imam Khomeini said, the Islam brought by Prophet himself. It gets inspiration from that. It follows the line of Wilaya and Imama. So there is a framework. There is some sort of, if you call it framework, but not a very clear blueprint. But with others, except Iran, I'm again emphasizing, except that nobody has any, not even an idea. They just follow what a big power should be. And India, in trying to be what a big power should be, is holding a conference in Kashmir. Damn it. Okay, we are not welcome there, but let us, yeah, who will stop us? Who will stop us? We have 700,000 army in Kashmir. We have a governor there. We have our administration there. Who will stop us? Let's go. So they went.
Okay. So, how about your thoughts on the next step they might be taking? Because if we see the Modi government, actions, even in India, the treatment with the Muslims is really, kind of marginalized. They are marginalizing Muslims, and they are putting different types of restrictions on them. They are gradually trying to trying to finish the name of Islam from their country, that they call themselves so called like secular and all that, but actually they are doing something opposite to secularism, and following the kind of ideology of Hindutva, even in their own country. And now they are trying to normalize these things in, obviously from ages they have been trying this as well in Kashmir as well. So how about the next step they might be taking, and what is the actual situation of the people of Srinagar in occupied Kashmir? How do you think, like, what are their thoughts on regarding this summit? Are they taking it as something like very positive, in a way, like as they are portraying through the media, obviously? like they are happy and everything is good and everything is fine and they are progressing or something like that. What are your views on that?
Yeah, you're right. They have obviously marginalized Muslims in India, and let me tell you, Muslims in India are more than Muslims in Pakistan.
Hmm.
There's a huge there's a huge population of Muslims in India, and we are not talking about Muslims in India now, but let me just note this fact in passing: is Muslims in India are they have a deeper historical, cultural consciousness as compared to Muslims in Pakistan. Muslims in Delhi, in India, they have seen Muslim kingdoms, Muslim political power, and their consciousness is still colored by it. They can't, people, people cannot get rid of the historical, elements in their consciousness. It goes on and on. So, but they have been marginalized, and they are they have been left with the agenda of survival. But it's not the end of the day. There are good things also going on in the Muslim community, and let's hope for better. But as for this Kashmir exercise, holding the conference there, uh, there were some motives, and actually, I made a vlog on this just before 2 3 days of the conference. I would have not made, but I found some Kashmiri brothers, and there was some panic going on that India is doing this, India is doing this, as if as if something very decisive was happening. So I made a vlog, and that's on the YouTube, but that's in my own language, Kashmiri, and deliberately Kashmiri, because in that vlog also I said that this is only an exercise in optics, and all the optics exercises, we should not make noise about them. That is what's the purpose of exercises in optics. Optics exercises, they want people to get they want to get people's attention, and the more noise you create, the more hype you create, the better you serve the purpose of the that optics exercise. So in my blog, I said that we should neither panic. There's no reason for that, and also we should not make huge noises. What's India doing? We should just leave it, just ignore it. We should not bother about it. And that's why I made that in Kashmiri language, so that it goes to the Kashmiri people, and uh, as uh, as it was intended. It was intended to be a psyop. As it was intended to be something that would demoralize Kashmiri population. Kashmiri population would think that, look now, G20 is happening, and they would think as if nothing has remained now. India has controlled, and there is. I said in that there's nothing like that. India has, as I said earlier, India has 700,000 or even more. And if you combine paramilitaries and all this, it may come to almost a million. Armed personnel there in Srinagar, in cities, at borders, everywhere. It has a government which it has a governor sent from Delhi. There are no elections since 2019. Before also, the elections in Kashmir were almost, they were a facade. There was never a genuine election, but there's no there's a direct representative from Delhi to govern Kashmir. So they can do whatever they want. So they hosted this exercise because they can do this. So uh, I was saying that India had one objective was to demoralize the Kashmiri people, and the other thing was mainly to give this impression to the rest of India, to the Indian population, that we have normalized Kashmir. Let
Yeah.
me let, let me first add that it was not, as I explained in that vlog also, it was not to hoodwink the world opinion. World knows very good, very well what is in Kashmir. They know very well, and um, it, you might be knowing about those Gujarat riots some years back, and there was the current Prime Minister Modi was the Chief Minister at that time in Gujarat. That's why he is called the Butcher of Gujarat. They were an anti-Muslim riots. So many Muslims were killed. The best investigative report was compiled by British intelligence, and on the basis of that report, Modi, the Chief Minister then, was denied a visa to Britain or to America. So these countries, these peoples, they know well what is the situation on the ground. They know well what is in Kashmir. So India was not going to actually mislead anyone. Everybody knows what's happening in Kashmir. And India was not going to mislead them. India was basically going to first demoralize Kashmiri people and second mislead its own population. Because very recently the current BJP regime in India has been facing some problems. They have got some setbacks. The biggest setback recently they got in a southern Indian state called Karnataka. The Congress won with a huge majority there. It was a big defeat for BJP. So things have not been going for BJP well, and now they are selling this thing that we normalized Kashmir. Look, we hosted G20 there. It was mainly aimed at the domestic audience for the electoral purposes of BJP. And now the question you were asking is now what is the situation? The situation is actually that India's doing, it has almost backfired because China has boycotted. China did not come. Not only that China did not come, it issued a statement that it's a disputed territory, so we don't approve of this. Holding summits, holding these meetings there, we don't approve of this. So China stayed away. Turkey also stayed away. Saudi Arabia stayed away. And with Egypt they had invited as a special invitee. And Egypt's President Sisi, was the chief guest recently on 26th of January 2023 in India. They on the Republic Day, or 26th of January is India's Republic Day, and they call some foreign dignitary as chief guest. Being a chief guest on the Republic Day is a very big honor they bestow on anyone. So with Egypt, their relationship was warming up, and they were saying that it is strategic. It is strategic in the sense that Egypt is also pro-Israel and India is also pro-Israel. And just to share you and with our viewers, just to share you this interesting thing. I recently came across an article in New York Times, and the article was saying that this is an established term now. He was saying that Biden has put up a security architecture in the Middle East, and this is called I2U2. I've never heard of it, never seen. And what's this? What's going on? Now, what's I2U2? It's interesting. I2 means two eyes. one eye for Israel, one eye for India. And U2 means two U's. One U for United Arab Emirates, the other
Mm,
U for United States. Now this is the
mhm,
security architecture there. So they have started making a strategic relation with Egypt, and they had invited Egypt, but Egypt also did not come. So they have got an extremely sorry figure, and they have got exposed. But Indian press is a mature press, and this is a discussion for some other day. Uh, India is not like Pakistan. India's power elites are united. They were united during the freedom struggle under Gandhi. The problem with Pakistan is that there was no freedom struggle. It was
mm.
all. So Indian press is very mature. They know the national interest. They know what to say, what not to say, what to highlight, what not to highlight. They did not highlight this. You can't see in Indian press that they have made a they highlighted this, or they came out with open criticism, or they made a fun of it that you had invited so many, but only some people. No, they just ignored it. They did not. They just noted it, pointed to it, but they did not make a noise about it. So that is the situation now. That nothing has, it has been counterproductive for India.
So, how do you think the similarity of the actions between, for instance, Indian actions they are taking place? In occupied Kashmir, and the way Palestine and Israel conflict is going on. So, do you see any kind of similarity in between the two, states like India and Israel? Like India is following their footsteps in terms of doing what they want to do and what they want to achieve.
Yeah, there are since India Israel relations, they have a very big strategic and intelligence dimension. India's defense minister has visited Israel many times, and they they have got a lot of uh, from Israel. Israel has, in a sense, Israel has taught them so many things which India was not doing before. But then, this is one thing is theory, one thing is you teach someone something. The other thing is the application. Application takes in a specific time space environment, in a specific situation. Now, what Israel could do there to Palestine, India cannot do that in Kashmir. There are so many reasons for that. So, India cannot simply replicate what Israel did there, India will do here. But they have been getting a lot of, um, I mean, I won't say guidance, but they are learning from Israel what we can do. And one thing, for example, is this uh, that uh, if we have these uh, young people who sometimes are armed and who do some militant activity sometime. Now, if if it is if India finds that so and so militant was in some house, that house is simply demolished. They just demolish it, raise it to ground, and so many these punitive measures which India was not taking before, but now they are taking, and it's all the uh, heavy-handedness. Otherwise, Kashmir has been a kind of police state right from 1947. I was in Kashmir. I was in the University of Kashmir. I know the surveillance there. Indian intelligence agencies were very much active always in Kashmir. And the democratic governments, the assemblies, the chief ministers, it was all a facade. It was basically the India's intelligence who were calling shots there. But in the last some years after the BJP and after 2019 when they scrapped the Article 370, what has happened is that they have further intensified this thing. And as I was saying, that they are demolishing houses, or a simple thing. They have uh, now what they are doing is a legal thing. It's a it's a constitutional legal thing that if someone is involved in some subversive, in some militant activity, he may be belonging to some party, but party as such is not liable. This is this individual who you have to punish. You can't punish the party. But now they are doing this, that if someone is involved in something and he belongs to a party, the party will be finished. It will be banned. Uh, these uh, things are a bit, they are new. They are an addition to India's repressive measures.
Right. So how about the I mean country who have been attending the for who were attendees, you can say, and what do you think? How about their conscience and how about their thoughts on this summit? I mean, how you see their character while they are participating in this summit, even though it matters or not. But if we see principally and morally, for a nation who had been fighting like from past 75 years for their freedom, and everyone obviously know what is going on with what has been going on in Srinagar or in occupied Kashmir. So how do you see the level of conscience and level of morality and level of kind of a principle, stand? Why? How do you see their conscience in that context? And does it matter or does it not? Like 19 states at least who have been participating in this summit, who have joined India on this. So how do you see that? What are your views on that?
Oh, well, you see, let's take a very dispassionate view of it. The people who participated, it was it was in a sense, for example, if this country, Britain, was there, or other countries, this was basically solidarity with India. Their friendship with India. India invited them, and it invited them to that place. So they did not raise any questions, and they went there. It was because they have. I mean, they want to keep friendship with India, and they don't want to. Uh, I mean, if India did it, they would not do as China did. They want to keep good relations with India. That apart, let's look at it, as I was saying, let us look at it dispassionately. And sometimes what happens is that our enemy, in this case, India, they they want us to, I mean, they link the dots which cannot be linked. There should
Mm.
be dots which can be linked. Sometimes they create a linkage for us which is not real, which is not there, and we should question that link. Now, in this case, what did India do? I mean, this Jammu and Kashmir is a disputed territory according to United Nations resolutions. And the United Nations resolution, and it forbids both. Pakistan and India, that you can't make any geopolitical changes in this area. For example, when Pakistan was thinking of making give to Baltistan a province, uh, this was the argument given by some that if you make it a province, that is sort of going against the resolution, because you should not disturb the status quo that was in 1948. You should keep it like that. Now, the point is, by holding the conference, India has not done actually anything. I mean, it just if you look at it this way, if you see, this is something I have made. I have written about it some years back. That I had said that India says that the whole world is with me in on Kashmir, but I was saying that not a single country is with Kashmir, is with India, except maybe Israel. Because
Hmm.
what is India's stand on Kashmir? India says whole Kashmir is mine. The Kashmir in India and that in Pakistan. This whole Kashmir is mine, and India says that there is no issue, and whatever is happening, it is terrible. Now these things are not supported by any government. Even United
Hmm.
States, even Britain recently they reaffirmed that our stand on Kashmir is what it was. Nobody exactly endorses India's stand, as I said, what is really India's stand. Now, if India says that there is some cross-border terrorism, my army is killed, and all this, and people sympathize with India, that is something else. But saying that whole world is with India is not right. It is India saying this, and we should not accept it. So we should not accept at this moment that India's stand on Kashmir, what India did on in 2019 on 5th of August, we should not say that it was endorsed by these countries. It was not a question of endorsement. It was simply a tourism conference there. How can you
Hmm.
collect endorsement? Uh, I mean, either the people, the party, the countries who participated, they should say that yes, we endorse. It was not endorsement. It was simply an event there. So we should keep things separate, and we should look at things separate and not join the dots which should not be joined.
Hmm. So, how about the Kashmiri people? How about their freedom fight? Where do you see is going, and how? I mean, after this summit, for instance, what obviously, according to your viewpoint, obviously it is just that you have a place in your hand, and you have the power, for instance, in the form of army, which is more than 700,000. You can say army officials who are serving and protecting the country or city or place, you can say, and you are holding a summit and you're thinking like, for example, it's a success or achievement, for instance, on the side of India, if we see it like that. But how about the people of Srinagar, of occupied Kashmir? What do you think, what are their demands, and how they gonna achieve success in their own struggle, which they have been fighting for from past 75 years? And do you think there India can do like kind of elections, or through the form of political activities in there, he can it can try to achieve their goals of like taking it further? And how is the political environment is going to impact the people, local people? Obviously, people of Kashmiris are Muslims, and demographic changes we can see there as well. So so how do you see this thing, especially the political perspective of people of the Jammu and Kashmir? it is good for them to participate in politics over there or not, or how you see it?
There are some basic facts which we should know and which we should face. The most important is that Kashmiris do not want to live with India, and there's an anti-Indian popular sentiment in Kashmir. And nothing has changed in this regard, absolutely nothing.
Mm,
The second thing is that Kashmiris at different points in time have been resisting, have been mobilizing and trying to resist
mm,
the India's occupation. But obviously, there are very limited options, and Kashmir being a very a far-flung in the north of India, it does not. It's not able to. It's not able to impose costs on India. For example, if something happens in India's capital, in India's state of Maharashtra, in which the capital city of Mumbai, Bombay, it was as it was called, is a financial hub. If something happens, businesses stop, or they can block train lines like that, and that that is, I mean, what people's movements can do, and impose costs. In Kashmir, things are not like that. We take costs, but we are unable to impose costs. Now, for the in 1989, uh, an armed element, an armed resistance started against India. For this armed resistance, Pakistan factor is absolutely important, and Pakistan support is important. Uh, and with this conference, as I said, it has backfired. It has been counterproductive for India, and what it has done is Kashmiri people. What matters is their morale, is their how what is their state of mind, how energetic they feel. Um, and this, as I said, this was all important, that they should not feel demoralized. Now, this conference, since China openly boycotted it, Saudi Arabia did not come, Turkey did not come, and Indonesia sent its ambassador in Delhi. Nobody from Indonesia came. This thing matters a lot in Kashmir. This
mm,
thing boosts their morale. They think that yes, we have support. And since this is, apart from China, this is a Muslim, these countries, so they
mm,
feel part of something, and it really matters to them. It really boosts their morale, and
mm,
that's very important, because we must note it was on 5th of August 2019 that this happened. India annexed, India scrapped Article 370. But since then, India has not been so far able to generate any credible political activity there. With the
mm,
result, there are no elections, and no elections are in sight. And this goes to the credit of Kashmiri people. I mean, you should. Uh, Resistance is always active and passive. The passive
mm,
resistance is when you stand your ground. You stand your ground and you don't do anything, but you stand your ground. This is what Kashmiris have been doing for the past now it is, 4 years. They have been doing
mm,
this, that they are there, and no political activity is happening. and India is desperately trying. They are trying to create their own new political formations, but no success so far, and no elections. And as I said, no elections in sight as well.
Hmm. Okay, so we are just left with last 8 to 10 minutes. So I would like to ask you, like, what kind of policy? Obviously, there is a. You mentioned the role of Pakistan. Obviously, at the moment, there are a lot of things going on in Pakistan as well, because of there are different kind of chaotic situations, we all know, but still, obviously. We can emerge from that, and it's not something is new for Pakistan, at least. So how do you think the foreign policy should be working on? Like, what kind of effort they must make in order to help Kashmiri peoples, or especially occupied Kashmiris, who are fighting for their freedom. And apart from that, the role of media, especially the Pakistani media, on that stance, like for the help of Kashmir. Because if we see the media of India, they are always supporting, as you said in your discussion as well, and we see generally as well, like they are too much kind of following the policies of their government and stuff like that. So what kind of shift our policymakers should be making in terms of helping Kashmir, and what forums we should use in order to help our this fight, to help this fight, especially in Kashmir. So what are your final thoughts on the whole thing, and the message for the people of Kashmiris, and the people who are supporting them around the globe? Because we have seen the protest in UK and America and different places as well regarding this summit and all that. So how do you see, what else we can do, what kind of opportunities still we have and we should follow in order to help the and support morally to the people of occupied Kashmiris?
Yeah, there have been things going on about Kashmir here in Britain as well as elsewhere, but uh, I mean it needs a huge reform. The basic thing is that it should be for the cause of Kashmir. And what's happening at the moment is we have at least in this country we have Pakistan's political parties are here, and the parties to make their own fortunes, to promote themselves, they take up Kashmir, and uh, that that does not actually make a big difference, because it is part of their own agenda. They promote their party, and for that they use Kashmir. It does not help. Uh, it has to be a non-partisan, Kashmir-focused activity.
Hmm.
We need to do so many things which are missing. For
Hmm.
example, a proper narrative from the side of Kashmir. You
Hmm.
know, this is way back in 2001. I organized a conference here in the SOAS, School of Oriental and African Studies. Uh, I organized a conference on the day of 21st of April, the day of Allama Iqbal. We called it Iqbal Day. And I organized a conference there, and it was precisely about this narrative issue, that looking from Pakistan, a Pakistani person, from Pakistani side, the legitimate narrative is that in 1947 the subcontinent was reorganized after the demise of empire, The subcontinent was reorganized into India, Pakistan. The Pakistan came into being as a federation of Muslims in that part of the world. So Kashmir was Pakistan. So we have been deprived of a constituent part of Pakistan. This is from the Pakistan side. But from Kashmir side, a proper narrative needs to be built, which needs not be the same as from Pakistan side, because Kashmiris have been facing uh, political uncertainty and political oppression. It was earlier through the what they were called Dogras. Dogras are the Hindus of Jammu province. They used to. This was a Dogra monarchy before 47, ruled by Hari Singh, and Muslims have undergone a lot of oppression under in that period also. So, so from Kashmir side, a proper narrative of Kashmir's freedom and what and their connecting to different world powers, going into the uh, political institutions, and so many things. It needs to be done, and it can be done in this part of the world. But so far, we see that, as I said, this is different parties. They take up Kashmir issue also, and it's non-productive. It's not creating any. No. Uh, Now, let me tell you, any outside movement, any outside system. Let us say the outside system of Kashmir here in this country. It should work as a support system.
Hmm.
That is in function. It should work as support system. Now support is not just financial. Support is, for example, we have in Kashmir so many young people who are languishing in jails. They were for some what India called offense. They were given life sentences, and they are
Hmm.
still there. They have been in jail for last 20, 25 years, and India says that they should breathe their last in the jail. That means life sentence. Now
Hmm.
we don't have any legal mechanisms to uh, do something for these people, and so many of these things. And uh, in nutshell, a support system needs to be created, and a genuine support system does not exist at the moment. And support is beyond finance.
Thank you so much. I'm really grateful and honored to have you on the show. The time is just finished, and I'm really grateful for your time. Thanks a lot. And in the end, I would just say the way Dr. Indarabi said, it has nothing to do with the freedom fight of Kashmiri people is still ongoing, whether it's active or it's passive. Kashmiris are Muslim, and their identity is already recognized, and all the whole world does understand it very well. And everyone should support them. It's not about money support or something. Their moral support is very important. The people in the jail and the people who are suffering and having different types of problems, we need to help them, and we need to create that forum which could help and support them legally, morally, and properly. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.